What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And I want to talk about Gennady Golovkin. Some recent report states that he has an injury. He wants to focus on the Canelo Alvarez fight in September. And he's going to skip the Billy Joe Saunders fight. I look at that. I mean, that's a good business decision. But it really, to me, it feels like, recently he just had a tough fight with Danny Jacobs, and a lot of people think that Danny Jacobs, in fact, beat him, or, it was a close fight. Some people scream robbery or whatever, If it's a close fight, it's not a robbery. So let's just stop that, you know what I mean? For him to have an injury, I kind of find that hard to believe, you know what I mean? Because there were reports or rumors that, just rumors really, that Golovkin was sick. He either had pneumonia or a bad cold or the flu when he fought Kell Brook. And he denied all that, I really would like to interview him myself to see what he really says, because it's kind of weird. It looks like it comes off like an excuse to me. Someone just want to fight, and now I have an injury. Oh, but yet I'm going to skip a fight too. Oh, but yet I'm going to fight. I'm saving my chances for Canelo Alvarez, because if they booked the Billy Joe Saunders fight, they might lose the opportunity to fight Canelo Alvarez, because it's not enough time to get that fight promoted right. They don't have enough time for that, because if from June, then if he fights in June, then July, August, September, that's not enough time, so that's only 2.5 months. So I can understand why they're doing that. They want to fight Canelo Alvarez because Canelo Alvarez is the biggest draw, the bigger draw. But here's my thing, okay? I was under the assumption, like a lot of people, that Golovkin wanted the belts. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wanted to unify all the belts. He wanted to be the undisputed middleweight champion of the world. The only thing that's stopping him from doing that is Billy Joe Saunders. He's the only one with the other belt. So I don't see why he can't make that fight with Billy Joe Saunders. And Saunders already stated, like a lot of boxers, I want to wait till he gets old. He literally said that. I want to wait till he gets old. And he told Chris Eubank Jr. that, Golovkin will beat you and me in the same night. Now he's saying, with 35, I figure I can beat him at 35. And I just really look at that like, dude, why would you even have that mindset? That's a coward mindset. That's like waiting for your pops to get old and beat him up. You know what I mean? That's that kind of, I don't know. It just doesn't set right with me. To me, I would want to fight someone at their very best, not when they get crusty and moldy. You know what I mean? And, but I don't know. That always just makes me think about, that's an easy way out, and if he can get the Canelo Alvarez fight in September, there's no real guarantee that'll happen, because Canelo might just decide to fight Chavez Jr. again if that fight happens, and no one knows what happens until that fight gets finished, until the outcome of that fight, right? So we really don't know what's, Golovkin, I feel, I don't really think that he had, they just said he had an injury. Either they're keeping it under wraps to avoid other people from knowing what that injury is. If he does have an injury, that would be smart. Like if he had a hand injury or an arm injury or shoulder injury or a calf injury, a lot of people would want to know what that injury is, so they'll know where he's weakest at, so they can focus on a strategy and game plan. I get that. But it's like, then you say, well, no, we're going to wait for the Canelo fight. Do you mean because you have an injury, then you want to wait and heal for the Canelo fight? Because this is the middle of April, right? So you got May, June, July, August, September. Regardless of, we don't know what injury that is. So we really don't know what he's dealing with on the proper time to heal. Because we don't know what the hell it is. If it's an injury at all, that could just be something that was said to save face, to shut, fans up, and so the fans won't lose face. So they won't trip out when because of this Billy Joe Saunders fight, but there's another element that's overlooked. If Mayweather comes back and fights McGregor, of all people, he's going to want to fight in September. Canelo already solidified his Cinco de Mayo date. He fought for it really hard and he got it, right? So, rightfully so. So he has that date. He's fighting Chavez Jr. But if Mayweather comes back, he's going to fight in September. And McGregor is also already throwing stuff on the internet, shouting out everywhere saying that, hey, this fight should happen in September. And if that happens, Oscar De La Hoya is not going to want to compete with that. So there's a lot of things here that a lot of people, that's a lot of ifs, man. You know what I'm saying? For Golovkin, because Golovkin will because Canelo won't even want to fight him after the Chavez Jr. fight, but regardless of that fight, if Chavez Jr. wins, they're going to fight again. So everyone wants to see, because me personally, I would want to see a Golovkin Chavez Jr. fight, because I seen them spar and it was a war, and I seen Golovkin hit Chavez Jr. a lot, and Chavez really didn't budge. He didn't budge, probably because of the weight, but so did Danny Jacobs. He was probably 180 pounds, right? Now it was probably the same weight Chavez Jr. was. So when he went in there sparring with Golovkin, those punches, yeah, he felt them, but he didn't feel them because he had that weight, he had some armor on him, you know what I'm saying? So, I would like to see that fight depending on where they would like to, because it'd probably have to be at a catch weight. Because I don't see Chavez Jr. going to 160, back to 164 to fight Golovkin. You know what I mean? Let alone 160. They'd probably meet at 168 or something like that. But I would personally like to see that fight because I was really intrigued by the sparring match that these guys done. And then they were really going toe-to-toe. And Golovkin was putting it to him. And I like the combinations Golovkin was using. He was using that left hook to the body, those uppercuts all night. Chavez was ripping those right hooks and left hooks to the face. He was really headhunting, you know what I'm saying, Golovkin. So I would love to see a fight like that because they're not too fast, they're not too slow. They got the right styles to complete each other like a puzzle piece. You know what I'm saying? So I would personally like to see that fight. But if Chavez Jr. beats Canelo, even if he doesn't beat Canelo, if he pulls some shit like the Sergio Martinez fight, if you guys haven't seen that fight, please watch it on YouTube. I'll probably put a link down below just to show you guys what type of fight that was. But Sergio Maravilla, Martinez, man, he was actually giving Chavez Jr. a boxing lesson. And I was with a friend of mine watching this fight, and he was just like baffled on how Sergio Martinez was easily outboxing this guy round for round. But when Chavez, the speed bothered him. The style bothered him. He was in the southpaw style. He was slick. He was bouncing his shoulders. He was just throwing punches from different angles. Chavez Jr. didn't have anything. He couldn't do anything with that. He couldn't handle the speed. And it wasn't really necessarily the power, but people don't understand. Speed is power. Ask Floyd Mayweather. Ask Vasily Lomachenko. Speed is power. So he couldn't deal with the speed, which was the power. But each time he let his hands go, he would catch Sergio Martinez. He would catch him. And it came to the last round, he almost knocked out Sergio Martinez. You know what I'm saying? So even if it's a fight like that, where Chavez Jr. comes close to knocking out Canelo and he hurts him, which is possible. Canelo Alvarez is, as far as we know, has a rock solid chin, but he was rocked in the Cotto fight. And I don't mean Miguel Cotto. I mean Miguel Cotto's brother. He was rocked in that fight with a left hook. Okay. So that kind of, I think it rocked him because his legs did a little dance. And the dance don't lie. The legs don't lie. Okay. So he took that shot and it took him a while to bounce back. if Chavez Jr. can do that with the punching power that he possesses, if he still has that punching power in that weight class with that weight drain, he can put up a hell of a fight or a pretty good fight. If that happens, it'll probably still be a rematch. They'll probably name it La Revancha, right? The revenge. You know what I'm saying? That's what it would be. And guess what? Golovkin will be out. Then who does he have to fight? Because by then, Billy Joe Saunders has fought. Billy Joe Saunders probably won't even want to fight again. That's if whoever he fights. He'll probably cherry pick again and pick another guy. And by that time, he's waiting on Canelo Alvarez, and Canelo Alvarez decides to fight Chavez Jr. again. So there's a lot of possibilities of how this thing can just go wrong for Golovkin. He should at least fight Billy Joe Saunders. But if he legitimately has an injury, now being 35 coming Saturday, he doesn't have the age in his corner. And if he has an injury, because that really hasn't been verified. I haven't heard Golovkin say anything. Yes, I have an injury, He doesn't. He doesn't have that. He doesn't say anything about it. His camp did. So for all we know, it could be a rumor. I mean, the information has leaked from his camp, so we believe it to be true. But I want to hear it from the gift horse. I want to hear it. I want to hear it from him. I want to say, hey, I hurt my hand in the Jacobs fight. I hurt my arm in the Jacobs fight. And until the end, I won't believe it. I just won't. And but we got to see how everything turns out. You guys give me your feedback. You guys give me your opinion on this because, I really don't know, about it. But Golovkin, I wouldn't look for a fight that is not destined to a fight that you are you're in negotiations with. Because you guys remember, if you guys don't know, he started negotiations with Billy Joe Saunders before the Danny Jacobs fight was even fought. So that fight was already in negotiations, so to think that Canelo Alvarez, will fight you definitely 100%, he's mistaken. But anyway, you guys give me your feedback, but this is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, CPN. You guys been Counterpunch. Please subscribe. Check out my Facebook page. This is a new channel, and I will be uploading videos directly here. They'll be coming right to me. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace.